On February 16, 1996, an Amtrak and a MARC train both collided head-on at Silver Springs, Maryland, which sadly killed 11 people. The cause for this accident is that the MARC train failed to slow down at the yellow signal. While it was undetermined why the MARC train failed to slow down, there was one and only one possible scenario. This is the story of the 1996 Silver Springs train collision. On the night of February 16, 1996, Amtrak Train 29, the Capital Limited, departed Washington Union Station at 5:25 p.m. heading toward Chicago, with Amtrak F40PH number 255 leading and P40DC 811 trailing. A crew of 14 sales personnel and 164 passengers were on board the train. Further down the line was Mark Train 287 arriving at Kensington. The train departed Brunswick at 4:30 p.m. and it was scheduled to arrive at Washington Union Station at 5:30 p.m., more like an hour trip. The train consists of cab cars 7752, two other coaches, and GP 39H-273 pushing. The train soon departs Kensington on its way towards its next stop. The train had around 20 passengers on board and a crew of 3. However, the MARC train will never make it towards its next stop, nor its final destination. Before arriving at Kensington, the MARC train encountered a yellow signal, being slowed down and prepared to stop at the next signal. Both trains were approaching Georgetown Junction around the same time, so because the MARC train had an approach, the MARC train will have to slow down and prepare to stop at Georgetown Junction. The Amtrak will pass a MARC train right in front of him, switching over to track 1. So the MARC train can continue on track 2 as soon as the Capital Limited clears. However, this didn't happen. As both trains were getting closer and closer, the MARC train, for some reason, was not slowing down. The train was still accelerating, going at 66 miles per hour. To make matters worse, the Capital Limited has already begun switching tracks. When the MARC engineer realized his error, he immediately applied the emergency brakes, but it was too little, too late. The two trains collided head-on at 5:39 p.m. The force from the impact causes the fuel tank of 255 to be separated from the engine, and the burning fuel makes its way towards the MARC coaches, setting them on fire. The MARC passengers tried to escape by furiously banging on the windows, but it was no use. Some passengers were inhaling the toxic smoke, while some were being burned alive in the fire. Cab car 7752 was split open from the collision, like using a knife to cut it open. Cab car 7752 and the two other coaches zigzagged and went off the tracks, as well as 73, which was almost flipped over on its side but still upright. Amtrak 255 and 811 also went off the tracks, with 255's rear end fried to a crisp. 811 meanwhile suffered minimum damage. When rescuers arrived at the scene, they were also having a hard time getting inside the MARC coaches. They eventually did, and the rescue operation soon began. In the end, 11 people died, all 3 crew members from the MARC train and 8 passengers from the MARC train. 26 more were injured, mostly from the Amtrak. It was obviously clear that the cause of the crash was human error. But why? Why did the MARC train fail to slow down? Why did MARC train 286 fail to slow down? Was it suicidal? Was it mechanical issues on the train? Was it signal failure? It was still unclear to this day why the MARC train failed to slow down, but there was a very, very possible thought. Moments before impact, there was a radio conversation which provided investigators a clue, and the clue in question was quote-unquote snowballs. It was revealed that there were some kids throwing snowballs at the MARC train. It was also revealed that the engineer of MARC train 286 was warning an oncoming MARC train about those kids throwing snowballs at the train. So here's my point of view. The engineer of the MARC train was trying to pick up speed to get away from those kids, and must have totally forgotten about the yellow signal that he passed. Here's what the NTSB said in their final report, and I quote, "The MARC train 286 engineer contacted the MARC train 279 engineer and warned him about children in the Galen Park area who were throwing snowballs near the track. The train 279 engineer said at first he had not quite heard the other engineers and had asked him to repeat his message. The train 279 engineer asked the children's location, and the train 286 engineer responded that the children were near the east end of the station platform. The train 279 engineer at that time began watching for the children or something on his track." So, did the engineer of MARC train 286 forgot to slow down after reporting the kids throwing snowballs at the train? Very possible. Was MARC train 286 trying to pick up speed to get away from those kids? Very possible. The NTSB also found a design fault in 255. You see, its fuel tank was right below the frame, in between the axles. So when it got hit, the fuel tank broke through, sending burning fuel into the MARC passenger cars. P-42's 11's fuel tank was built inside the frame so it won't get damaged. The blame also came down on CSX and FTA, or Federal Transit Administration, for removing a signal between Kensington and Jonestown Junction as a part of a capacity improvement of the Metropolitan Subdivision. And because of this, the engineer and the assistant engineer from the Capital Limited filed a lawsuit against CSX, Amtrak, and the state of Maryland for over $100 million. The injuries that they suffered prevented them from coming back to work. The NTSB also stated that there were no emergency windows for the passengers to escape. So after the accident, it was recommended that all passenger coaches needs to be equipped with emergency windows for all the occupants to escape, just in case a disaster like this one occurs. In the end, Amtrak 255, cab car 7752, and the 2 other MARC coaches were deemed a total loss and scrapped. Amtrak 811 was repaired, put back into service until it was retired years later and likely will never run again. MARC 73 was also quickly put back into service and continues to operate as of 2023. 28 years have passed since that collision occurred, and sadly, this will not be the last time that a collision occurred, but that's a topic best saved for another day.